What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
This week, I'm talking about not only a podcast, more so a podcast producer, Vicky Pezza. Currently, her podcast, Sophomore. She released one episode back in November, kind of updating everybody on what's going on. Hopefully, it's a podcast that she will keep doing. There's many episodes on there talking about just herself, her family, fun segments with her husband, Lenny, and just a lot of fun, right? She's been a podcast producer for a lot of podcasts. I first got to meet Vicky back when she was producing for The Naughty Show, a show hosted by Sam Tripoli, stand-up comedian, co-host by Gareth Reynolds, also co-host at a time Jason Tebow. I think I'm saying that right. Saying it out loud makes it sounds wrong. But she produced that show. She was one of the producers. Came on. I don't know if she started with them or later. I think she was interviewed and then later became a producer of the show. She produced it up until it ended. It ended up being a show on the Playboy Network, radio network, and then it ended. Sam Tripoli went on to do other things. Vicky Pezza went on to do other things. Gareth Reynolds went on to do other things. Although Gareth and Vicky have worked together on many projects like Point vs. Point, which is Gareth Reynolds and Evan Mann's podcast, kind of a news, political satire kind of a show. And also The Dollop, which is Gareth Reynolds and Dave Anthony, which is a comedy history podcast. She's helped work with them. She's written raps for Tell 'em Steve Dave, man, I'm not saying any words right. It's like my face is not working correctly. If I have a stroke during this episode, call somebody. But yeah, she's also produced MMA podcasts. She's an MMA fan. Rutin and Ranello with Boss Rutin and Mauro Ranello was a show that she produced for a while. And then the last one, Action Junkies, which was hosted by Jake Ellenberger, and then his co-host was some dude who is the son of a famous musician. Can't think of his name. But this podcast that she put out, this episode she came out with, I've talked to Vicky many times. I've had her on my old podcast, the Inspired Disorder podcast. We've gone back and forth in the past pretty regularly. It's been a while. I've been through some things in the past few years. She's going through her own things, and that's what this episode of Sophomore came out and kind of filled everybody in. Because I'm a huge fan of Vicky. I love Vicky. Lenny's amazing. I met both of them at the Comedy Store back in LA many years ago. And it's just like, they're not fake people. They're real fucking people. They're awesome people, but they're just like, they're not stand-up comedians. Lenny's just, he's an electrician, and Vicky, she produces podcasts. She's produced a bunch of other stuff, like commercials, and, she's legitimate in what she does, way more so than I am. Like, I would say, when she produces a podcast, she's like doing, like, This American Life kind of level of editing and production, or like Radio Lab. Like, she does high-end work. Where I focus more on, I don't know what I'm doing. I like to do live to tape stuff, and everything else, I like to produce the live part of it as much as possible. But kind of a completely different style. It would be amazing if Vicky ever wanted to work with me. Now that I'm back in California, Palm Springs, if there was a project she wanted to work on with me on, or produce, I know she's, anyway, it would be a dream. Because I would trust her not to fuck me over, and I would hate to fuck anybody over. That is the farthest from anything I would put energy into. But her most recent podcast that she's produced with Jake Ellenberger and the other douchebag was Action Junkies, and apparently she did produced a bunch of episodes for them. was supposed to be getting paid, and they fucked her over. It originally was $8,000 that they had promised to pay her, and Jake Ellenberg kept having stories and excuses why they wouldn't pay her. And it's like, oh, Jake, it always seemed to be based on Jake Ellenberger getting another fight, which as a fighter, he's been on the back end of his career for a while now. So not the most active, not the most successful fighter. So I don't know. Listening to her recap the story, which is amazing. It's edited together like Making a Murderer kind of style, where she's uncovering all of these things where these people are so stupid that they're incriminating themselves on their own podcast that they stole from her, and they're just like regurgitating old stuff that she's already produced and re-releasing it under their stuff. Basically, they stole all the work that she did. She got stiffed, which is kind of, the leader of our country is been known. That's like his business strategy from day one. It's like, have these companies build my hotel and then not pay them, take them to bankruptcy court, and I'll pay them a fraction of what we agreed to pay them because fuck it, I just start a new company. And then, just fucking over the small person, the little man. And I consider Vicky an artist in what she does. So they stole from an artist and have plenty of money to pay her, which now apparently Jake Ellenberger showed up with $2,000, saying that he was gonna pay the rest of it after he gets another fight. And this is like all going on 2017 apparently throughout the Pezza's life. And by the way, this all happens just as her and her husband are going through the process to become foster parents for a teenager, right? I talked about the movie Instant Family a while back. Go back and watch it. I love that movie for a family heartwarming movie where, two fucking cool people adopt a foster kid. Which I don't know if they're just foster parents. I don't know if they're adopting, or I don't know how the situation is. But all of this is happening while they're going through this lengthy, in-depth process of trying to be approved to become foster parents. And they're getting fucked by this fucking CTE meathead Jake Ellenberger, former jarhead, whatever. I don't give a fuck. He's a piece of shit. And then the other douchebag, which I don't even know. Like, I don't even give a fuck about his name. He comes from his dad. He's like some fucking douchebag that likes to fuck people over, like the fire party kind of scam where he just got a bunch of people and fucked them all over. Same thing, except for Vicky's pretty much the only one that got fucked over. So anyway, Vicky's podcast, Sophomore, details all of this shit and all of the ways that they're fucking her over and all the ways they could easily pay her for the work that she did so she could just go on with her life. Not that it's necessarily holding her back, but she would like to get paid, as anybody who does work would like to get paid. Like, I'm sure a lot of the government employees right now would like to get paid, but, just like the government employees, there's a rich fucking asshole who's too stubborn and too much of a fucking piece of shit to just pay people for the work that they do. That's it. It's super easy. But they live in a world where they're so used to just fucking people over that it's effortless for them. I support Vicky Pezza, and you should too. But yeah, I love Vicky. I haven't talked to her, but I want to set up a long form interview that I'll put on the Patreon page for members over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I definitely want to catch up with Vicky because she's an amazing person. And I just want to find out what's going on with her more in depth. But that's it. Go check out Sophomore. New episodes of my show come out daily. Subscribe everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Inspireddisorder.com for all of my work. At Ray Taylor for me. Have a great day, everybody. Don't fuck anybody over. Pay artists. Peace out.